right. Welcome back to Lamplight City. Last time we finished the first case. So let's jump right in and go to bed, apparently. And I believe
let her be for now.
We've done everything in here. It's time for bed. So let's head on in there.
Who could that be this
knocking
time
at the
of
door this time of night? For real. Good job, Bill.
Adelaide can handle it for now. I need to take my medicine.
You certainly have your priorities in order. Go on then. Get that bottle of rat piss out of your nightstand and let's get this over with.
Damn straight, Bill. Shut the fuck up, man.
Ugh, tastes like the devil's sweat.
You could just stop taking it, you know.
Bill, now is not the time to...
Miles,
yeah, I mean, it's already done with for the night.
Here, please?
Be right there, dearest.
The hell does Bill want?
Who was that at the door?
A late-night courier. You've got a message from Upton.
Oh, Upton. It must be a case. This case makes the last one look simple. Meet me at the ruin ASAP. It's urgent. It's urgent, eh?
Seems this case is rather urgent.
Oh, yeah? What gave that away there, Miles?
But didn't you just take your soporific? Are you going to be all right to go?
Oh,
It won't kick in
we'll
for
be
another hour or
fine.
so. Should be plenty of time.
All right, I'm going to bed then. Good luck, dear.
Good night, Addie.
Alright, let's go talk to Upton. And she's at the old coffee shop, and the same people are here. Was Jesus there last time?
Self-Portrait as a Desperate Man by B. Calvert. A bit like looking in the mirror, isn't it, Miles?
No, I don't got a beard. I don't look like Jesus.
Hello, Upton.
I'm glad you came, Fordham. Sorry for disturbing you this late.
Yeah, you should be.
Shouldn't a respectable
Yeah.
young lady like you be in
What
bed
he
by
said.
now?
Only if you want to add boring to your list of adjectives.
So, what do you got for me?
An infant kidnapping in Lyon. The report came in tonight just before my shift ended. The family wants to keep the investigation very low-key. They're afraid if word gets out, they'll have all sorts of ne'er-do-wells making false ransom claims. That's why I suggested they let you investigate first. Head over to 45 Belcourt Street. That's the home of Malcolm and Miriam Harris, the parents of the kidnapped boy.
Okay.
Harris. As in Harris Construction Company?
The very same. Owned by Malcolm's father, no
We
less.
got some
Now
money
you see
involved
why they wanted
here.
to keep this out of the public eye.
Indeed. If they manage to get a new transatlantic airship off the ground, it'll be an aura mine. I can see why they'd make an easy target. Don't worry, Upton. I'll get the kid back before you can say hot
Hot
toddy.
toddy.
Hot toddy. I think you're losing your touch, Fordham.
And I think you've lost your joke book. Try some new material for a change, would you?
Right. Good luck on your investigation. Come see me again once you figured things out. Or if you just need to talk. I'll be here all day tomorrow as well. So feel free to stop by.
Alright, well, let's get on over to the Harris household. Alright, well, we can't go home. So let's go to the Harris residence.
Mr. Miles Fordham is here to see you, sir.
Very good, Mr. Havelock. Send him up.
Miles
Yes, sir.
Fordham, sir.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Fordham. I'm Malcolm Harris.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about what's happened, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. You were very highly recommended by Miss Upton. She said you'd
Huh?
be able to solve this faster and more discreetly than the police.
That's what I do.
admit it's a rather unorthodox approach, but we're desperate.
I understand. I'll do all I can to find the kidnapper and bring your son back unharmed.
If you'd like to examine the nursery, it's just through that door to the left. I'll ask you to please try and keep quiet as I just sent my wife to bed. Her nerves are rather shot, you see.
Yes, of course.
Alright.
It's nice to see that tea is still served here even in times of tragedy. I know the hand and waistcoat pose are supposed to look stately, but to me it always looks like the person is scratching themselves. The Harris family certainly has a nice view from which to look down upon the world. I wonder if they use the balcony to give speeches to the gardeners.
Bill's kind of bitter against rich folk.
She looks like she's up to something. I wouldn't get too close, Miles. That vase is probably worth more than your entire building. I'm sure the only location the Harrises care about is wherever they are at any given moment.
Alright, let's talk to him.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
No doubt you do, but I'm really not in the mood to talk right now. It's been a difficult evening, and I'm not certain I have it in me to answer your questions at the moment.
Fair enough, but I will need to ask you about the incident at some point.
Yes, that's fine.
That's
Just
weird.
not now.
Alright, well, let's go check out the nursery.
Look at that. The kid has a toy chest. My sister and I used to have to keep our toys buried in the backyard. Of course, that is because the only toys we had were dead rats. My
Let's-
friend Bunny. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want a giant imaginary rabbit for a friend.
Why not?
The Bears Picnic.
Kinda
Something
cool.
about a group of giant human-like bears eating together in the woods is slightly unsettling. A steam-powered bottle warmer. Certainly beats having to do it in the fireplace. Or in the case of my parents, over a barrel fire. Some sort of fuzzy animal wearing a waistcoat. Charming.
Alright, well, let's check point of entry first.
Nice view of the garden from up here.
Alright.
Probably won't be another year or so before the child gets any practical use out of those blocks beyond putting them in his mouth.
But they taste yummy. Ooh.
Interesting. This fabric looks as though it came from a garment of some kind.
Well, let's take that shit.
There's a small emblem sewn onto the side of this piece of fabric. It just says SS.
Somebody's initials, maybe?
Or who made it?
Be careful not to cut yourself, Miles. I don't think the Harris family has ever seen blood that isn't blue.
Interesting. That's not very
It looks
cool,
rather
Bill.
flimsy. Let's
Bill,
not try
you need to
sitting on
chill out, man. That's why we gotta get rid of you.
it. Look, you can see the balcony extends all the way around the side of the manor.
That would make it rather easy for someone to access this window from the outside.
No evidence of what was used to smash the glass, though.
Alright.
Oh dear.
Oh,
How
soporific!
Soporific has started work.
Yeah!
Well done, Fordham.
We
Now
are
you're supposed to...
high.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Instigate, interrogate. I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Perhaps it's time to call it a night.
I am fading. I am fading.
We're not doing anything now?
To sleep. A chance to dream. No talking now. He'll know it's all wrong.
We're just gonna leave.
Well, Mr. Harris, I believe I've done all I can for right now.
Did you find anything?
Yes, I believe I have some leads I can pursue. But the most important thing to do in cases like this is wait to hear from the kidnappers. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue my investigation and ask you and your wife some questions once you've had time to calm down a bit. In the meantime, I suggest you stay here and get some sleep. We'll all need it.
At least we took our coat off.
Miles, wake up. It's nearly noon.
Ah, so it is.
Why didn't you come to bed when you got home last night?
It was late. I didn't want to disturb you.
So what was so urgent about the case Upton sent you?
I'm trying to track a kidnapped child.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
That's
my
awful.
goodness.
Yes, the pressure's on, but I think I should be able to crack it.
Assuming you
The
actually
heat
managed to
is
get anything
on.
done at the Harris Manor today.
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Also, we've got company. Mrs. Delacroix is having her hair done here today, so please make yourself presentable.
You mean I'm not already?
At least do something about your hair. I do have a reputation to maintain, after all.
What's wrong with my hair?
Do you really want me to answer that? We'll be here all day.
I mean, what's it got to do? What's it got to do?
Wouldn't you say it's time for a change of clothes, Miles? You've been wearing that coat for who knows how long.
So? Addie gave it to me. Besides, it gives me character.
Right. Brooding detective in a long black coat. That's never been seen before.
There a
What are
brush
you talking
somewhere in
about,
here?
Bill?
Never mind. It's admirable just how organized.
Yeah, well, I guess we're not doing anything.
And then he said, "Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've met."
Mrs. Delacroix, this is my husband, Miles. Miles, this is Mrs. Delacroix.
Pleasure to meet you, madam.
Likewise, young man. Pleasure.
Is everything all right, Mrs. Delacroix?
Oh, yes, everything's fine. It's just that, well, you weren't what I was expecting, is all.
Keep your head, Miles. She may be a closed-minded idiot, but she's just an old lady.
She's got a problem with the interracial marriage.
What were you expecting exactly?
Well...
Now then, Mrs. Delacroix, what was it that you were telling me about Mr. Delacroix and his dogs?
Oh, yes. So, Harold came in and said...
Impressive. She got off pretty easy. I was expecting a repeat of the Parsons incident. You should give Adelaide a kiss on the way out, though, just to make the old bat feel extra uncomfortable.
Don't mind if I do.
If there isn't a pair of scissors or a hairbrush in Adelaide's hands, you can bet there'll be a book.
Dupree scandal shocks Gascony society. Madame Dupree, the Gascony Grande Dame, reported died 2 weeks ago and is in fact alive. Details emerged after police investigation that Dupree was made to appear dead and now was buried alive. In a shocking turn of events, it was discovered that Madame Dupree had been torturing her servants, even going so far to keep one locked in a hidden room. The servant unfortunately died. Dupree was arrested for manslaughter and will stand trial in the coming months. The suspected assailant, Albert Martin, was released with a full pardon. Public opinion has quickly turned against Dupree, with many claiming that she got what she deserved. A signed confession was given by Guy Dumas, but police have been unable to locate him. Nice. Protests at Air Shipyard continue. Okay, Harris Construction. They're building this. It might have something to do with our case. Prime Minister's re-election campaign intensifies. Brewery explosion.
She can get as painted up and coiffed as she likes. It's not going to fix the ugliness inside.
Oh, Bill.
Your book collect...
Addie?
Not right now, Miles. I'm busy. We can talk once I finish with Mrs. Delacroix.
Okay, well, I'm leaving then.
Goodbye, dearest.
I look forward to your return, my love.
Bitch. Alright, well, let's go back here.
Remind me, Miles, how is finding some rich people's kidnapped baby going to help us track down the flower shop burglar?
I don't know.
I
Probably
have
won't.
no idea. Maybe it won't, but this needs to be done.
Very noble of you, Miles. If I didn't know better, I'd say you were purposefully stalling.
Don't be ridiculous. I want to find the man as much as you do. You know that.
Right. Well, if you plan on solving this case, you'll need your full wits about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Again, with the nagging. What is it this time?
You need to stop taking the soporific, Miles. Adelaide has been trying to get you to stop for months, and Upton already suspects something is amiss. Not to mention your little episode last night. Trust me, no one is going to want to hire the dullard detective.
Clever. Did you come up with that one all by yourself?
What are you going to do when the cases stop coming in? How long before you get put away in Riverview?
If I do get locked away, it'll be your fault.
Which is exactly why you need to get back to your normal routine so you can find the burglar.
Ooh, we're gonna stop.
All right, fine. I'll stop. But you know that doesn't guarantee we'll find the burglar any sooner.
Yeah, I'm aware, but it increases the odds significantly.
You think so, Bill? Why was
Well,
that?
Glad that's settled then. I knew you'd see things my way eventually.
It's not as though you gave me much of a choice.
In time, you'll thank me. Probably not before the withdrawal hits, though.
I like how the screen's bouncing
Don't
with
make me
the
change my mind on
carriage.
this, Bill.
Mr. Fordham, you're back. Allow me to introduce my wife, Miriam.
Hello.
A pleasure, Mrs. Harris. I wish we could have met under better circumstances, but I assure you I'm doing all I can to find your son.
Yeah, that's why I'm strolling in
Thank you,
after
Mr.
lunchtime.
Mr. Harris, has there been any communication from the kidnapper?
None at all.
Well, I'll have another look around, if you don't mind.
Alright. Let's finish looking around in here. We checked
Miles,
out the glass.
didn't you notice something a bit strange about the Harrises?
Quite a few things, actually. What are you referring to?
Their son was just kidnapped, yet they're each on their own side of the sitting room. Not comforting each other, not crying together. Nothing.
They're stuck-up rich people. Not exactly the type to show emotion.
Miles, you know I'm the most cynical person there is when it comes to their type. But this isn't normal behavior, even for snobs.
Yeah, I have
This
to
goes
agree.
deeper than saving face. There's something going on between them. I think you should find out what.
Let's check out the crib.
Yeah, the kidnapper left the child's blanket behind. There doesn't appear to be any trace of the silver spoon, though. That's odd. Why is there a loose button in the crib? Now, I'm no expert on children, but it seems like it would be dangerous to have around an infant.
Yeah?
Ah,
No choking hazard.
Only the flower shop burglar was as easy to find as this clue was.
With the mobile.
Nice mobile. Custom made, too. There'll be no mistaking what family this child comes from.
Oh, little airships. So we got with the fabric, the button. We can check out the bedroom now.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
You gonna answer them now?
Yes, of course.
All right.
Tell me everything you can about the kidnapping.
I don't know much. I was out last night while it happened.
Where had you been previously?
I was out with friends. My wife can verify the time I arrived home.
Wait a minute. I know this attitude all too well. This man is hiding something. Most likely from his wife. I doubt his voice is from beyond the grave, so the question is, what's his secret?
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window. Do you know anything about it?
Looks like it came from a piece of clothing. Possibly a jacket.
Do the initials SS mean anything to you?
Maybe? I can't really say.
What?
You'll have to excuse me, Mr. Fordham. I've got quite a lot on my mind right now. If I could think of anything, I'll be sure to let you know.
Tell me about your son.
Charles is a good boy. Very quiet. Miriam had wanted a child almost from the moment we married. You know how women are when they have their hearts set on something. I saw no need to rush, but
Nice to know you're not the only one. Hey, Miles.
the first 2 times Miriam was with child, she suffered some unfortunate accidents. She was devastated, as you can imagine.
Oh, that does suck.
So when Charles finally came along, he turned out to be quite a blessing. I can't imagine what sort of depraved madman would take him from us like this. You must find him, Mr. Fordham.
I intend to, Mr. Harris. Tell me about yourself.
There isn't much to tell, really. My life has been fairly well publicized in the
I
newspapers.
don't read the papers.
Let's pretend
Yeah, I
for a
do.
moment that I skip over the society pages.
Well, I'm an investor. My father Clyde runs Harris Construction Company, which I will someday inherit. Any other details about me are fairly trivial nonsense, I think.
What about this button?
I found this button in your son's crib.
What's
Does
it
it
go
look
to?
familiar at all?
No, not at all. Do you think the kidnapper might have left it behind?
It's a distinct possibility. Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right.
All right, let's meet the wife.
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
Let's
Tell me a bit
start
about
with
yourself,
her.
Mrs. Harris.
Mr. Fordham, my son has been kidnapped and is out there alone, terrified and confused. What could I possibly tell you that would make any difference to you finding him?
You never know.
I suppose you're right, Mrs. Harris. My apologies if I upset you.
No.
Tell me what you know about your son.
Where were you last night?
Oh, my poor baby.
Mrs. Harris, I know this is difficult, but I need as much information as you can give me so I can bring your son back.
Yes, you're right. I have to stay strong. For Charles.
For Charles.
It happened sometime between 6 and 8 last night. I think. Both my husband and I had gone out. Charles was in the care of his nanny, Mrs. Davis. I arrived home first, around 8:30, and that's when I found this scene in the nursery, as it was.
And what was it you found?
Mrs. Davis, unconscious in her chair, the broken window, and Charles missing from his
Why
crib.
was she unconscious?
Malcolm arrived home shortly afterwards, around 9, and then immediately sent our butler, Mr. Havelock, to notify the police. We stayed up waiting for any contact from the kidnappers, but there was nothing.
Your husband mentioned he was out with friends last night. Where were you?
Oh, I was visiting with some of my friends. We gathered at one of their homes for a concert.
It seems hiding something from your spouse is an activity both Harrises partake in.
Oh, what's going on here? All right, what's
What
with
can you
Miss
tell
Davis?
me about Mrs. Davis?
Well, she's worked for us since Charles was born, a little over 6 months ago.
How did you come to employ her?
Malcolm's mother had a friend whose daughter she used to care for. She came highly recommended. We've never had any problems with her. She's always been a dream.
Where is she now?
In her room, I would guess. With Charles missing, there's little for her to do.
Where might I find her room?
There's a small building just around the back of the manor. Hers is the 4th door from the left.
Can you think of any reason
Yeah.
why your son would be a target for kidnapping?
It could be that someone wants our money, or some lunatic who's angry about the new airship. My husband's an investor, and my father-in-law owns the company building it, you see. I just don't know, Mr. Fordham. Frankly, the fact that something like this could even happen is just terrifying.
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window. Do you know anything about it?
No, I've never seen it before. Do you think it was left by the kidnapper?
Perhaps. Did the initials SS mean anything to you?
No, I can't think of anyone or anything I know with those initials.
Tell me about your son.
Charles is our only child. He's such a good boy. Never makes a fuss. Always very sweet. Oh, Charles, you must be so frightened out there without your mother.
Are you even around?
Oh, please, Mr. Fordham. You have to bring him home.
I'll do my best. I found this button in your son's crib. Does it look familiar at all?
No, I don't recognize it. It looks like it came from some cheap coat. Is that what the ruffian who took my baby was wearing?
That's what I'm trying to determine. That's all for now, Mrs. Harris.
Very well.
Check out the bedroom.
Fancy. Some poor servant's probably gonna get a flogging for leaving it in here, though. Who in their right mind would need that many drawers?
I've got that many drawers.
Let's see what we have here. A very poorly written letter addressed to Mr. Harris.
I don't suppose it's a letter of admiration.
On the contrary, the author seems quite upset.
This is your weekly reminder of how much I hate you. Because because of you, my wife is dead. My wife was a wonderful woman. You have taken her from me. Hope you suffer as much as I have. Arthur Devons.
Nothing else of note.
Oh, well, at least we got to play a rousing game of Search the Rich People's Dresser. It looks like a pile of women's clothes. Must belong to Mrs. Harris.
Be so assuming.
Oh, another four-poster. The Harris family certainly makes no secret of their wealth. Painting of the city. Probably the only time the Harris family sees any of the other boroughs. Wardrobes are usually always full of wonderfully dark secrets.
Let's go to Narnia.
An empty suitcase. I suppose Mr. Harris must travel every now and then. One thing is for certain. Mr. Harris uses entirely too much starch on his shirts. Yeah, it seems like this is where Mrs. Harris keeps her unmentionables. I like the ones with the frills and the stitched cat. Paperwork and receipts. Nothing particularly interesting here. More lacy underthings. I wonder which Harris they belong to. Mr. Harris's color selection is almost as drab as yours.
Let's see if there's anything of interest in any of the pockets.
So, Mr. Harris is a fan of the ponies, is he? I'm sure that's not causing him any trouble at all.
250.
Mr. Harris's color...
Okay, well, so you didn't have one that matched. He didn't have a coat that matched the fabric. Let's go talk to Miss Davies. Miss Davis.
Come in.
Good day to you, ma'am. I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. I'm looking into the kidnapping of Charles Harris. Are you Mrs. Davis?
I am. Oh, bless the spirits. They've sent someone to help at last.
Bless the spirits, huh?
It's a spirit reaching out to a very frightened man. Possibly the fakest looking photo I've ever seen. That chest is full of undressed dolls? What the hell is wrong with this old bat? Another Harris hand-me-down, no doubt. You'd think they would have washed it first. Seems like that boiler's the only thing in here that's less than 10 years old. My mother had a pewter teapot as well. Always made the tea taste funny. The Harris family doesn't seem to hold the comfort of their servants in very high regard.
Yeah, where's her four-post
I think
bed?
a bed of nails would be an improvement. A boy taking a nap under a tree while his dog runs around in the distance. That brings back some good memories.
Oh.
These are all books on spiritualism and the occult. Mrs. Davis doesn't seem to have many other hobbies. Pretty distinguished looking gentleman. Handsome. Good fashion sense. Wonder who he is. Her Majesty Queen Jessica. This was clearly painted
All hail the
a
Queen.
long time ago. Painting of a misty forest with a cemetery in the background. Cheery stuff. Painting of a tower on a Scottish moor. I wish I'd been able to make it over there. This looks like a mourning portrait of a young woman. Probably a relative of Mrs. Davis.
I think that's everything. Let's talk to her.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
All right.
How long have you worked as a nanny?
Only a few years. I never had to work when I was married. My husband had a lot of money. Unfortunately, he was in great debt. And after the spirits took him back to the ether, I wasn't left with much. So I began working as a nanny to make ends meet.
That's kind of
I
shitty.
consider taking care of children a reward in its own right.
Tell me about the kidnapping of Charles Harris.
Oh dear, may the spirits forgive me. I feel so awful. Charlie was my responsibility, and I failed.
Mrs. Davis, that is beside the point. What's important now is finding him and bringing him home.
Yeah, why were you
To do
sleeping,
that,
lady?
I need your full cooperation.
Oh, you're right, Mr. Fordham. I'm sorry. I just need to collect my thoughts, get the negative vibrations out of my mind.
Out of
Now,
my mind.
What specifically would you like to know?
What time did the kidnapping occur?
I'm not entirely sure. I know I was in the nursery having a cup of tea about 8:30. I remember feeling very drowsy. I must have passed out then because the next thing I knew, I was being woken by Mrs. Harris.
Okay, so
That
it happened between
was
8:30 and
after
9.
She got home about 10:30. To think, whoever took Charlie did it while I was.
Didn't
in
they say
the
she was
room.
home at... He came home at
may
9?
the spirits grant me peace.
Do you happen to take any sort of sleep medications or soporifics?
Oh, dear me, no. Those types of drugs cloud the mind and make it impossible to tune into the ether.
You say that as though it were a bad thing.
I beg your pardon?
Apologies, I spoke out of turn. Can you think of anyone who would have wanted to take the child?
Well, I'm not one to gossip, but I am quite sensitive to the energy and vibrations that people give off. I get the impression that Mr. and Mrs. Harris aren't very happy in their marriage.
Ah, come on. Anyone could have picked up on
Yeah.
that. Anyone except you, that is.
I figured it
Mr.
out.
Harris likes to stay out late and not take his wife with him. I can't remember the last time they went out together. I don't know what he gets up to, but it's possible he may have made some enemies.
Yeah, why can't it be her?
Can you think of any reason why someone would want to kidnap Charles?
It might have been for money, but last I heard, there was no demand for a ransom. I honestly don't know why this happened, Mr. Fordham. I just hope you find the poor child. He must be scared to death.
I found this piece of torn fabric in the nursery. Does it look familiar to you?
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry.
Well, you're no help. What about the button?
I found this button in the baby's crib. Do you recognize it?
Why, yes. That's one of Barney's eyes.
Barney.
Charlie's stuffed bear. It's his favorite toy, a gift from my friend Linda.
I didn't find a stuffed bear in the nursery.
Then whoever took the baby must have taken Barney as well.
Hmm.
Oh, at least the poor thing has something to comfort him. Bless the spirits.
Who's this Linda?
Who is Linda?
Mrs. Linda Walker. She's a good friend of mine. As I said, she gave me Barney as a gift for Charlie.
Yeah, I noticed the parents
Can you
didn't
tell me anything
recognize
else
that.
about her?
Oh, she's a lovely girl, very much in tune with her spiritual nature. I greatly enjoy my conversations with her.
When was the last time you saw her?
Oh, I don't remember. No, wait. It was at the last Spectre Society meeting on the 19th. That's right.
Okay, so she said last time she saw her was on the 19th. Okay, so what's the Spectre Society?
What is the Spectre Society?
It's a club for spiritualists and amateur investigators of the paranormal. We meet twice a month to socialize and discuss our findings.
I see. Sounds fascinating.
Oh, I don't expect you to share my beliefs, Mr. Fordham.
Oh, I have a bit more experience than you'd think with regards to the spirit world.
You can say that again.
Where exactly do these meetings take place?
At a private residence in Gascon.
May I have the address?
Why, yes, it's 325 Rue Jameau. Are you going to seek spiritual guidance to find Charlie?
Perhaps. You never know what might be worth looking into.
Where's
Do you
Linda
have Linda
live?
Walker's address?
No, I don't. I never visited her home. I get the feeling she doesn't like having visitors or being home very much. She prefers to meet people elsewhere. I was the same way after my husband died. It was embarrassing for my friends to see me living so differently. But I feel it's not just a matter of pride for dear Linda. I think there are lots of bad memories associated with where she lives. I try to stay away from places like that. They leave a mark on the soul, you know.
That's a lovely
This
portrait.
Linda lady
Who's
sounds
it of?
kind of suspicious.
That is my late husband, Jonathan. He used to attend meetings of the Spectre Society with me, bless him. I tried to get him to be more in tune with the other side, but I think he was just humoring me. He was a good man. Everyone at the society cared for him very much.
What's up with the creaky
Couldn't help but
dolls?
notice that chest full of dolls in the corner.
Oh, that. Oh, I know it must look a bit strange, but I pick up old and broken dolls so they can be repaired and donated to orphanages. It's my way of giving back to the community and helping poor children who have nothing to play with.
Well, what a kind soul. I wish she would find less creepy ways to express her altruism.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right. So she gave us some good information. The parents are definitely lying.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Coffee house. We got the Spectre Society. It's the newest place. But we're going to wait till next time on this stuff, guys. Thanks for stopping in. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And please sub if you are new. Let's keep on going through old Lamplight District. So, ghosts. Because we're going to go to the Spectre Society. So, thanks again, guys. I am